Everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this Saturday's edition of Alaska Weather, 20th day of November 2021. I'm Dave Percy. Up first, we've got, cold morning here, 44 degrees below zero, the low temperature reported at Northway Saturday morning. Tok at 42 below zero, and then Chisana across the mountains there, Northeast Copper River Basin, 41 below, and then up to the north there, up in the northeast, Beaver had 36 below, and Eielson Air Force Base there east of Fairbanks had 35 below. These temperatures, these are not bad temperatures to have at this point in November before Thanksgiving, to see minus 40 showing up. Anyway, that's probably about the coldest night we'll see out of this current cold spell. And moving on, we'll see winds will be picking up, and there are wind chill advisories out over the central interior there, Yukon Flats, Koyukuk Valley, the Tanana Valley, Greater Fairbanks area, and those areas there for, wind chills to 45 degrees below zero, and that's out through 1 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Otherwise, we've got, dropping down, there we go, a blizzard warning out for the eastern North Gulf Coast there, Valdez, and to Cordova, and on up to Thompson Pass. That's for winds gusting to 55 miles per hour tonight, through tonight, and that's looking at 48 inches of snow, and that'll create visibilities down to a quarter mile or less. And then a winter storm warning, not a blizzard warning, but a winter storm warning for Yakutat eastward into Haines. That's out for tonight, and that's for 5 to 10 inches of snow in those areas. And then the greater Juneau area, winter storm warning as well, and that's also out for tonight. And they're looking for a little less snow, not much difference actually, kind of combined it all. 6 to 9 inches total snowfall there in the greater Juneau area. And then winter weather advisories out until 9 p.m. this evening for the yellow shaded areas down over the central southeast coast. Could pick up 4 to 6 inches of snow, Wrangell, Petersburg, and those areas there. And that's, again, out until 9 p.m. this evening. And from there, taking a look at the satellite imagery, you can see the front and good southwest push of moisture, back edge already approaching the coastline, back edge of the front there, still off the coast. So far, not a whole lot of precipitation. Heaviest there over the southern panhandle. Ketchikan, or catch my notes here. Ketchikan had a little under half an inch by mid-afternoon of rainfall. Klawock about a third of an inch of rain. Petersburg's picked up about an inch of snow, and that moisture is shifting northward quite rapidly there. And then not so much going on the North Gulf Coast yet. Middleton Island's picked up about maybe an inch of snow at most there. And then winds really more of a factor for Kodiak Island. Kodiak State Airport seeing north-northeast winds gusting almost to 50 miles an hour this afternoon, with light snow has started there, but it's pretty light as it bent back occlusion wraps in, kind of lacking for moisture. And it's not going to last too long as the low center pulls off to the east. That moisture will end, the winds become, instead of north-northeast, will become north-northwest or eventually northwest tomorrow. And that'll dry it out, start to clear it out, and keep the cold air in or bring it back in there. Otherwise, the interior, pretty clear and cold. South of the Brooks Range, from the Brooks Range northward, clouds, areas of light snow continue there due to the moisture dropping down out of the Arctic. Another batch there approaching the eastern Arctic coast there. A little bit heavier. Could pick up half inch of snow maybe with that over the next 24 hours or so, but nothing heavier than that expected. Next front you can see pushing into the western Aleutians. And on the chart, low pressure southeast of Kodiak today with a front, and that will advance northeastward with the snow and blowing snow, Copper River Basin, North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound, into the northern panhandle. That's going to change over to rain over the, or just stay rain over the southern panhandle with the southerly flow. And the flurries and fog and clouds continue Brooks Range of the Arctic coast, and also over the northern Bering Sea. Kind of a weak trough there will bring a little bit of moisture into St. Lawrence Island, possibly Nunivak Island. Otherwise, not too bad. Breezy with some rain and snow over the far western Aleutians. We can see Kodiak Island drying out. Tomorrow, moisture backs westward into possible eastern Turnagain Arm, maybe to Girdwood, Portage area, definitely Whittier, Prince William Sound, across the Copper River Basin, maybe into the Talkeetnas. Then it cuts off. Should stay dry, Cook Inlet and areas west out to the coastline, as well as areas up to the north. And temperatures staying cold, but not as cold, mostly due to the wind increase. And for the outlook for Monday, a little bit milder, better chance of snow, but staying below normal on the temperatures across southern Alaska, except mainly for the Panhandle. Temperatures will be rising there, continued southwest flow, but still a chance of snow in the north, rain and snow in the south, or just rain down towards sea level, especially along the central and south coast and areas inland. Snow areas of blowing snow will continue for the eastern interior areas with some additional light amounts, and looks pretty windy through the passes of the Brooks Range. Howard Pass, that looks good for 50 miles an hour out of the northeast for the gusts there. And some clouds, but less flurries to the Arctic coast. Widespread area of light snow over the Bering Sea due to cold air continuing to pour southwestward out of the interior and try to head down toward the Aleutians due to the pressure falls south of the Aleutians, that very intense storm south of Adak. And from there, taking a look at lows tonight, 25 to 35 below. Don't think we'll see any minus 40s tonight. It's possible, but should be a little bit milder in the colder, those areas that were coldest last night or this morning. Lows in the lower 40s southern Panhandle, but near 20 upland canal there. Haines to Skagway, upper 20s Kodiak Island. Again, the colder air coming back in. Below zero, Bristol Bay. And single numbers to 5 below south central Alaska. Highs tomorrow, 15 to 20 south central Alaska, staying below zero in the Copper River Basin most areas. Mid 40s into the central Panhandle, but struggling to bust freezing up Lynn Canal, Haines, and the Klondike Highway. Below zero for the highs. Interior again, a little above zero for the Arctic coast. Highs about 31 for the Pribilofs, will fall to 24 for Monday morning. Lows staying well above freezing for the Aleutians, almost near 40 out toward Shemya. 30, lower 30s for the eastern Aleutians, mid to upper 20s Alaska Peninsula, well below zero in Bristol Bay in the western interior, and 10 to 20 below for the central interior, 30 to 35 below for the north slope, but back below zero along the Arctic coast, colder temperatures arriving there, and in the 30s to near 40 for the Panhandle, followed by highs mid-30s northern southeast coast, but from Juneau on south, 40 to 45, and either side of zero in the central interior, so warmer temperatures, and 15 to 25 for south central Alaska, mid-20s Kodiak Island, 30s or mid-20s to lower 30s for the Alaska Peninsula, but below zero all the way up to the Arctic coast. Single numbers along the west coast, 20 to 30 from St. Lawrence Island to the Pribilofs, and upper 30s to lower 40s for the central western Aleutians, with mid to upper 30s for the Fox Islands, and mid 20s to lower 30s for your highs in the Alaska Peninsula.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Flying weather Sunday morning, IFR there along the Brooks Range and into the North Slope, marginal VFR, central and western Arctic coast, south of the Brooks Range, VFR all the way down, Kenai Peninsula, western Prince William Sound, Kodiak, and the Bristol Bay, Alaska Peninsula, southeast Bering, including the Pribilofs on Alaska Island, marginal VFR, Winmac Island westward, and to Kiska, then Shemya and Attu, IFR. IFR from just east of Cordova or so, eastward across Yakutat, Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay, and marginal VFR for the remainder of the Panhandle. And for the afternoon, or Sunday afternoon, shaping up, staying VFR over much of interior Alaska. We've got some IFR now, Prince William Sound up and over western Copper River Basin, and marginal VFR coming into the eastern Matanuska Valley, maybe the Talkeetnas, but Susitna Valley westward to the coast, VFR, Kodiak VFR, Bristol Bay, Fox Islands VFR, a little bit of marginal VFR, Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula. Otherwise, pretty good. And marginal VFR, North Slope Arctic coast, and that extends into the Brooks Range. They're trying to get south, but having trouble making it. And areas of IFR there for the southeast coast, and a small band of IFR, again, western Aleutians. And for Monday morning, Eastern Arctic Coast, IFR, otherwise marginal VFR, some of that spilling into the North Slope, but the Brooks Range looks VFR now. Marginal VFR, central interior to the upper Tanana Valley 40-mile country, just south of the Porcupine River, and then from there southward across Copper River Basin into northern Cook Inlet, Knik, Turnagain Arms, Matanuska Valley, but Susitna Valley, especially the central western Susitna Valley, staying VFR. Right on down the western Alaska Range, Kuskokwim Valley, VFR, Kodiak, VFR, and IFR, North Gulf Coast, including Prince William Sound into Whittier, but Portage probably staying marginal, as well as Girdwood. Northern two-thirds of the Panhandle or northern half of the Panhandle marginal, southern half IFR, shimmy in that too. Afternoon, IFR, eastern Copper River Basin northward into Northway, Toke, those areas, Chicken, but Eagle, marginal VFR, and then from Eagle northward, VFR, North Slope, Arctic Coast, marginal VFR, Bering Sea, marginal, Alaska Peninsula Aleutians, marginal VFR, and the Panhandle, same thing. Southern Kenai Peninsula, Kachemak Bay, marginal VFR, but Kodiak Island, Fogak Island staying VFR. And for passes, Anatuvik, marginal VFR, better conditions out to the south, and Adigan, same trend, marginal VFR through the pass, but south of the entrance VFR. And Lake Clark and Merrill, another VFR day tomorrow, rainy VFR, windy VFR. Isabel VFR to marginal as the moisture works west and northwest. And Mentasta marginal VFR the entire day. Tanita VFR becoming marginal VFR, especially on the eastern entrance. And Portage VFR, deteriorating conditions to marginal VFR and IFR, especially the east side there. And Chilkoot and White IFR. Freezing levels 2,000 to 6,000 feet there across central southern Panhandle, 2,000 feet south of the entire Aleutian chain, surface south of St. George Island to about Falls Pass, south of the Alaska Peninsula and the North Gulf Coast, cutting across southern Panhandle. Icing areas of isolated moderate, southeast interior, northern Panhandle, into the Gulf of Alaska, and some areas of mostly light, could be some very isolated moderate icing out over the Bering Sea down into the western Aleutians, where it might be a little more widespread in the moderate category. And the jet stream, good southwest flow, 140, 145 knots right into the Panhandle, 70 to 75 west-northwest, coming around a ridge south of the central Aleutians in the Bering Sea. And at 9,000 feet, east 45, eastern Brooks Range, north-northwest 35 to 50 knots, Alaska Peninsula, southwest 55 knots into the Panhandle, 3,000 feet, southwest 40 knots off the north coast of the Panhandle, stronger winds to the south, and east 45 knots, northwest interior. And then that system way out west, 45 knot winds into Shimianet too, but light over the central Bering Sea. Turbulence, areas of moderate chop, eastern North Gulf Coast, northern Panhandle, southern Panhandle. Another swath there along and west of the Alaska Range, Kuskokwim Valley down to the northeast Bristol Bay area, up along the mid and upper Yukon River Valley areas.
Dual polarization technology is a major upgrade to the current radar system. It allows forecasters a better idea of what's actually out there and can help keep you safe.
Current radar technology transmits and receives information in the horizontal direction, which is very limited. Dual polarization technology, in addition to the horizontal, transmits and receives vertical energy, which allows forecasters to get information about the size, shape, and phase of the precipitation. We can use that information to better determine the precipitation type to expect at your given location.
There you have it. This new technology is currently being installed in radars across the country and is already being used by National Weather Service forecasters to produce better, more accurate forecasts. Learn more here and follow us. Want to know about the future of weather radar? Well, the National Severe Storms Lab has it here with its new phased array radar. Let's check it out.
It's a non-moving radar. It has 4 faces of the antenna, each pointing in different directions. One of the big advantages is that we're seeing so far, it can sample the area around the radar in less than a minute, maybe even a half a minute. And this is 5-6 times faster than what they can do today.
NSSL is leading the development of future weather radar with this project. Learn more here and follow us. The Storm Prediction Center is one of the NOAA weather partners. They are located in the National Weather Center in Norman, Oklahoma. Greg Carbon gives us a glimpse into what the SPC does.
Our mission is to analyze and forecast severe thunderstorms and the potential for tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds from those thunderstorms across the lower 48 states, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. One of the primary missions of the Storm Prediction Center is the issuance of severe thunderstorm and tornado watches across the country when conditions appear to be coming together to support the development of severe thunderstorms and tornadoes.
The world-class meteorologists in the Storm Prediction Center specialize in severe weather and keeping you safe. Learn more here and follow us.
The National Severe Storms Lab is working on increasing the lead time for severe weather warnings. The national average for tornado warnings is currently 13 minutes, but more notice would be helpful, especially for those in charge of moving large groups to shelter. Warn on Forecast will help forecasters issue hazardous weather warnings earlier. The project will give them more info about the chances of strong winds, large hail, and even tornadoes.
Currently, warnings are created by forecasters looking at the atmosphere outside, understanding its volatility, and then comparing that to how they see the Doppler radar presenting what's going on inside thunderstorms. Warn on Forecast is an idea where we're going to take the massive amounts of satellite, radar, and surface data and stick them all into a very high resolution prediction model. And then by producing new forecasts every 15 or 20 minutes, the forecasters hopefully will be able to use that model to produce warnings that extend out to an hour.
Before the National Weather Service can use this tool, it must be developed and tested. One big challenge will be deciding how to get the model predictions to the forecasters.
I'm going to keep this one very low. I'm just adjusting the track.
These hazardous weather prediction models are going to produce a huge amount of output. And this fire hose of data is just too much for forecasters to handle in real time quickly. So in order to help deal with that, NSSL has developed a related project called Facets. And Facets is the methodology which will enable forecasters to focus very quickly on the most important threats.
Once Warn on Forecast and Facets are proven to be reliable and effective, then forecasters will be better able to inform you of threats nearby. Learn more here and follow us.
The Hazardous Weather Test Bed is located at the National Weather Center in Norman, Oklahoma. It is used for experiments that will allow forecasters to learn and apply new technologies.
The Hazardous Weather Test Bed is a really unique space throughout all of NOAA. And this is where the researchers and the operational folks come together in a common space to solve operational problems and to test new research tools that the research community is working on. The goal is to accelerate the transfer from research to operations of the newest tools and techniques.
People come from around the world to collaborate on this unique project.
We can bring together not only NOAA people, but also university people, faculty, researchers, private sector meteorologists, folks working in other countries in meteorology, forecasters can all come together and focus on what the problem of the day is with the forecasters.
Each spring, several experiments occur in the hazardous weather test bed. Learn more here and follow us.
What are you looking at? And what are you ignoring? Did you notice the NOAA logo in the corner? Forecasters have a lot of information in front of them too. Every second counts during severe weather, and decisions about where to focus are constantly being made. This could be even more challenging in the future. Phased array radar will produce 4 to 6 times more information than what we have now, which brings us to the question researchers are hoping to answer. Will more radar information affect forecasters' decisions?
From our past experiments, we've learned a lot about how forecasters think during the warning decision process, but we've also learned that those thought processes are very complex, and for that reason, we need a better way to be able to track forecasters' cognitive activity.
Inbounds and possibly golf ball sized hail.
An eye tracker is a piece of technology that is used to determine in real time where someone's eye gaze is located. And these eye trackers are typically video-based, which means a camera sits below a computer monitor, and with infrared light and vector analysis, we can determine where a person is looking and how their eyes are moving.
Eye tracking is already being used in the medical field and air traffic control. Using similar research methods, NSSL is discovering the benefit for weather forecasting too. Phased array radar will give forecasters a lot more to think about. Understanding their decision-making process will help researchers develop even more user-friendly tools. So what's the benefit for you? Even better weather warnings. To learn more, check us out online and follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Looking at sea ice analysis. Chukchi Sea, ice covered now into the Bering Strait. At least 80% or greater there through the Bering Strait. Norton Sound, ice covered. And taking a look at the southwest coast, some ice showing up now around on the south side of St. Lawrence Island and north and south of Nunivak Island. So pretty good ice coverage here. In fact, this is the most extensive sea ice in the Chukchi Sea and the Bering Sea we've seen since November 2012. And so now it's just a matter of pushing on out, or actually the forecast is for continued west-southwest movement and growth for the next 5 or 6 days. From there, coastal water forecast, gale warnings on the north coast of the Panhandle, south winds 35 knots, and small craft advisories on the central coast, south of 25, but only 15 knots on the south coast, but seas will be 13 feet. Clarence Strait, small craft advisories, southeast winds 25 knots, 14-foot seas. Stevens Passage, northeast at 20, and Lynn Canal, north winds 20 knots, lighter than today. And for the outlook on Monday, southeast winds at 20 knots for Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay, northern inner channels, and the central and southern inside waters. Looking at south to southeast winds at 15 knots, seas down to 3 to 6 feet. The central and south coast, southwest winds 20 knots, and the north coast, south at 15. Prince William Sound tomorrow, north winds 20 knots, seas 3 feet. Light variable winds, northern Cook Inlet at 10 knots or less, and north 15 south of the Forelands. But gale warnings, west 40 knots, Kamishak Bay, northwest 35 knots for the Barren Islands, and north at 20 for the western North Gulf Coast, but small craft advisories for the eastern North Gulf Coast, seas near 20 feet, and a northeast wind at 30 knots. And for Monday, northeast at 10 for northern Cook Inlet, small craft advisory southern Cook Inlet, northwest at 25. Just under storm force winds for Kamishak Bay, west 45 knots, seas 14 feet, northwest at 40 knots for the Barren Islands, northwest 25. Western North Gulf Coast, lighter winds from Middleton Island, south at 20 with 11-foot seas, and Prince William Sound, northeast winds 15 knots. Kodiak Island tomorrow, west-northwesterlies 30 to 35 knots. Gale warning, Sitkinak to Castle Cape, northwest 35. The Alaska Peninsula, north to northwest 30 knots. And 25-knot north winds for Bristol Bay. No change Monday, Bristol Bay to Cape Sarachev. North winds 25 knots, Cape Sarachev to Castle Cape, north 25 knots. Castle Cape to Sitkinak, gale warnings northwest at 40. Kodiak Island, gale warnings, westerlies 35 to 40 knots, 8 to 15 foot seas. On Alaska Island, north-northeast at 20 tomorrow. Unmak Island, northeast at 15. Adak and Atka, not too bad. East winds 20 knots, 7 to 8 foot seas. Southeast at 20 for Amchitka Island. Kiska to Shimia, small craft advisory, southeast at 30. Those develop into gales from the northeast from Shimia to Kiska on Monday, but storm warnings out for Amchitka Island, northeast 50 knots, and storm warnings also for Adak and Atka, east 45 to 50 knots, seas up to 27 feet. Gale warnings for Unmak Island, east-northeast 35 to 40 knots on Alaska Island, north-northeast at 30 knots, seas 10 to 17 feet. Southwest coast, northerlies 20 to 30 knots, strongest south on Nunivak Island. Pribilofs north at 20, small craft advisories to St. Matthew Island, north 25 knots. Small crafts also for the St. Lawrence Island area, north at 25, Norton Sound, north at 15. And for Monday, brisk wind advisories, Norton Sound, north winds 25 knots. St. Lawrence Island, 25 out of the north. Small craft advisory, southwest coast, northerlies 25 to 30 knots, north 25, St. Paul, St. George, and St. Matthew Islands. For the eastern central Beaufort Sea coast, northeast winds 15 knots for Sunday, northeast 20 on the west side, and small craft advisory, or actually brisk wind advisories from Cape Beaufort to Wales, north-northeasterlies 25 to 30 knots. And those brisk wind advisories continue through Monday, Wales to Cape Beaufort, north-northeast at 30 knots, otherwise north to northeast at 10 to 15 knots elsewhere along the coast. For tonight, weakening low pressure moves into the Gulf of Alaska, but the front pretty strong. Gale warnings on the coast, especially the north coast, with winter storm warnings out tonight for tonight from the northern panhandle and the eastern North Gulf Coast as well, and blowing snow working into the eastern Copper River Basin. And for tomorrow, that low continues to slowly weaken and drift northeastward with colder, drier conditions back into Kodiak Island, staying cold over the interior.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.